afternoon, good evening, wherever you're consuming this broadcast. Welcome to Bus Talk. This is your host, Ian, and I am going to take you through one more aspect of your everyday at work. For those tuning in for the first time, Bus Talk is a simple, slow burn, straight talk. No fluff stuff, no mumbo jumbo, and try to break down the complex and make it as simple as possible. There are no prescriptions, no instant gratification, and this is not a life changing podcast. None of that is what you will get in Bus Talk. If this is what floats your boat, then I'm guessing you've tuned into the right show. As always, I look across the internet with my network of people, friends, mentors, guides, and come up with some curated observations which we discuss in Bus Talk. This episode will be slightly different, and I'll explain how so. But for those who are tuning in for the first time, please go check out www.bustalk.in. That's BASTALK.in. That is the website which has all the previous 5 seasons. Yeah, we have 5 seasons, close to 200 episodes, and you will find content on everything ranging from conflict resolution to sales management tips to people management, upwards, stakeholder management, and that's been some of the more popular ones. And of course, there are episodes on office gossip and rumors and stuff like that. Little bit of spice, as it were. We're mostly bland as a podcast. There isn't much of masala per se, but hey, once in a while we indulge. And it's been a while actually that I've had a light fun-filled episode. Not that everything is gloom and doom, but most episodes, as you would imagine, are fairly deep, detailed, serious. And the word that I used at the top was slow burn, which means I'm trying to build a tribe of listeners who have the patience to listen to a 45, 50-minute or even a 1 hour conversation. So if you're one of them, thank you. For those who've been with Bus Talk over the 4 or 5 seasons, and if you're new, hope this will give you something to look forward to. So if you're stuck in traffic for the next 40 odd minutes, consider this as your companion. If you're going for your morning walk, watch where you're walking, switch on your headphones, and if you're sitting back at home listening to this, sit back, relax. And let's dive into this episode of Bus Talk. Now, one of the things that I try and do in Bus Talk is to be as relatable, as relevant as possible. Very difficult to know what the audience thinks unless you let me know that you have a problem with this situation or you have this query. And so I keep getting these comments and requests every now and then, and so I try and bring them up. And so today's episode is one such episode where I am going to talk about a couple of queries that have come by, and I'm compressing them. These are audience queries, so all bus talkers who are listening, they posted some queries that why don't you talk about point ABC, and I am going to try and do exactly that. So it's what you wanted to hear, and I'm sure the points that this person has shared, they have a lot of relevance to the common workplace today, but they've also been, and if you go back to some of the previous seasons, season 3, 4, or even 5, you will find the topics. That's why I mentioned right at the top that if you go into the Bus Talk website, you will see the categories, and under the headers you will find episodes which are relevant to the main topic. So this person has sent a few questions. I think there are 3 questions, but then there are sub aspects to it. So I'll jump right into it, and there are mixed questions. So the person is a salesperson, and the the query is about sales pitch and what happens post the sales pitch or a demo. If the demo goes well and then the customer goes silent, does not respond, so that's the context, right? This person is a regular sales person trying to pitch the product or service to the customer, and while in that process you make a initial pitch, you do a demo, and then the customer is not responding. So the query is post demo ghosting and what actually works to re-engage with the customer. So let's first address this part because it's a sales tactic related question. So let's divide this into two parts, right? The activities leading up to the demo, and then what happens post demo, and then the ghosting part. So the three parts, actually, not two parts. So first up, and this might come as a surprise to many, not a very big fan of demos, POCs, unless I don't know why I said that three times, but unless there is a definitive outcome attached to it. Give an example. Hey, Mr. Customer, absolutely happy to do a demo. Usually there are two outcomes. One is that you're going to love what you have to see, and the other you'd probably hate. Well, hate is a strong word. You just might feel that this is not something that you want to go ahead with. Now, I'm absolutely comfortable with either outcome, but I need one commitment from you that you will communicate to me the whys behind it. Is that okay? So, what do I mean by that? That once we go through the demo, if you, for example, don't like it, then please let me know why you don't like it, why it couldn't be a fit. Is it a commercial angle? Is it a feature missing? Or, what could be the reason? We need to get a understanding on that. And I need to book some time either right then and there or maybe a day after for you to assimilate your thoughts. Alternatively, if you, in the rare chance or the most probable chance in our opinion, if you do like the demo, then can we commit to reconnecting immediately for a discussion on next steps? Like what happens? I just indulge me and say, if you do like the demo, what do you do as a next step? Immediately, do you ask three other people, introduce us to four other people, we meet in person. There are multiple next steps that can happen. But what I need from you, Mr. or Ms. Customer, that before we agree on the date and time for the demo, then we agree on the next steps post the demo. So you understand, you are setting expectations up front rather than chasing them post the demo. So I'm not a very big fan of people doing a demo or a POC, proof of concept, if success criteria is not well defined. What constitutes a good job? It's a simple question. What would you like to see the demo achieve? What are your expectations? What if the product did ABC, would you consider it a good job done? Can you define those ABC for me? And so once you get to this degree or detail of question, the chances are the customer is going to give you something that you can latch onto. That if your demo shows great scalability, or demo shows the feature integration fit, or it doesn't require too much of whatever manual labor or manual intervention, then that'd be a good job done. If that is a customer ask, then what I do is I would immediately send them an email saying, great, Mr. Customer, we want to absolutely would be delighted to do a demo. And the demo success criteria is as stated by you, is ABC. If this is done, then the next steps are that we meet your leadership, or come meet you in person, or whatever be the next steps that you decide. This mail has to go to your customer before you do the demo. And so wait for the acknowledgement from the customer. Yes, this looks good to go. Basis which you fix a date for the call post the demo. That okay, we need to please confirm this time as well. Now, in the event the demo doesn't go well, customer doesn't like it, it doesn't mean end of the world, right? There have been so many instances where uh, something that has not worked right at the start doesn't mean it won't work 3 months later. So there's a separate way to tackle that situation. The separate way to tackle that situation is that in the event they do not like the demo owing to a feature request, which is they expected this, but your particular feature is unavailable, then it would help that you give them something to latch on to, which is like, hey, this is in the roadmap in 6 months' time. In the meanwhile, can we probably stay in touch or refocus on a couple of other things where we can keep our engagement on? So that could be one. And if there isn't, there isn't. That's fair. But at least you know that you've promised them that there will be a roadmap, and you can go back to your product management and say, hey, this is a customer request. Looks like it is a not a one-off thing. It is something that can be applicable to other customers, and can we request a feature update on this? So that those could be one. And I'm so for those who have heard Bus Talk before, it's largely focusing on B2B SaaS space customers, right? So selling cloud solutions mostly, right? So I'm just trying to think of a framework that I'd imagine. You can obviously break it, tweak it to the way that fits you well. But the core concept remains the same, that you're doing an upfront contract for a potential result post facto, not traveling and flowing and being in a hurry to accept people get very excited when the customers, yeah, let's have a demo, and like, but yeah, it's costing you manpower, it's costing you time, energy, money. It's got you're redirecting a expensive resource, that of a product specialist or a demo specialist, to spend time with the customer. It's costing you, as in the company, your company, money. And so never present a demo very loosely, very easily. Like it's nothing. As if you do that, then the customer will treat you exactly the same. Nah, it's not such a big deal. I'd make demo be a very big deal. Like, oh my God. Of course, we are this young startup which nobody's heard about. Separate way to do a demo. I'm referring this to those set of organizations which are reasonably well known in the market. You have a flagship product and people still ask for a demo. So there's a different connotation to presenting that demo. And so you have to then put some gravitas, not just to the demo, but to the people doing the demo. Saying, I'm going to pull a subject matter expert, an industry expert, and however you want to build that person up. And if you haven't done that, you may want to do that. It's an expensive resource. I hope you're very serious about it. I am going to make sure that I pull in the best people to impress you and your team. So can you make sure that you have more people on the show than just you and a couple of other people? I know it's difficult, but try to get more people so that the impact of the demo is not restricted to just this one person. It goes to 3, 4, 5 people, as the case might be. So, you're making it like a prestigious event, like a event of great significance or importance. Very important to do that. And so they start to feel that, okay, this is important. If you take your demo seriously, your customer will take your demo seriously. If you just be, yeah, anytime, I can do this any day, no problem. And so then they will take it lightly as well. So put some gravitas, put some energy, build some brand about the people, send them a executive note that, the person who's going to do the demo is a product expert, is a vertical expert. Here are the 3 lines where they have done so. Send it in advance so that they say, oh, these are the people who are going to talk to us. So, it's independent of the size of your company. It's how you build the brand and present it to the audience that, look, we are serious here. We are specialists. And so And so I guess you get the drift, right? So a lot of pre-work needs to be done. If I were to just sum this up for you, the first part, that if you do this part well, that you put adequate importance to the demo, adequate importance to the people delivering the demo, agreeing on the outcome of the demo in terms of the next steps, whether the demo goes well or does not go well, and fixing up a time to discuss the outcome of the demo. These four things, if you do, chances are they will not ghost you. I mean, there's always this unique customer somewhere or the other. That always happens. But by and large, if you put in so much, they are going to feel very stupid, foolish even. That after doing all that, they just ghost you. Yeah, it can happen, and we have to build some resilience to keep following up. But you can minimize that. You can minimize it. So work a lot before you grant them the demo. Okay. POC as proof of concept costs the company money. Demo might not directly cost the. It could be a canned demo. If it is the human resource that is being employed is different, but in a POC, the development cost is there. So if you're not getting a return of investment, where is the deal? Are you trying to get a deal closed basis a POC right at the start when the deal is not yet cooked? It's not yet warmed up enough. So like on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 is finding the opportunity and 10 is closing the opportunity. At what stage do you do a POC? My suggestion would be to do it midway to towards the end, when you have spent adequate time building up all those, unloading the bucket of objections and everything. And then when they are 60% convinced or 70% convinced, then say, hey, now to push it to, the commercials, let me do the demo to you. And then, yeah, and you repeat the same thing, right? If the POC goes well, then do we have, what is the success criteria? If it meets the success criteria, are you committed to do the next steps? What are the next steps? When will be the next steps? These questions need to be answered before you agree to do a POC. POCs cannot be dished out easily or lightly. So I hope it answers the first question, which was about sales pitch. The demo goes well, and then silence and ghosting and ways to re-engage. So I hope it addresses the first part. Let's move on to the next question. Next question was about sales culture. Sales culture can be inspiring and rewarding, but sometimes it's toxic too. So can we talk on quotas, pressure, work-life balance, burnout, and stuff like that? Yeah, these all could be separate 5 episode topics per se, right? So you're straight away talking about 5 into 420 episodes there. And there are such episodes in Bus Talk, but I'll touch upon all of these bit by bit, like at a high level, so that all of you get a sense. Sales culture, as the cliche goes, culture eats strategy for breakfast. It is so dependent on the leader's vocabulary, mindset, tenure in the organization, the leader's stage of burnout. Fresh leaders or the guys just taken up the role, they are likely to be more in the zone, as it were, like let's change everything, let's be excited and all, versus somebody who's been at the leadership role for 5 years, 6 years. They're at a burnout stage, and I don't know where they find the energy from, but it is remarkable that some leaders who have done 10 years manage to sound as energetic as they did at the first year. That is a superpower. And I've had a stint where I did 13 years in one organization, but every single Q1 or Q4, the amount of energy that the leadership brought to us kind of re-energized us, and so that kind of translated. But after the third year, fourth year, fifth year, it gets to you because the messaging is the same. People change, but the top leadership gives you the same messages and you kind of know what to expect. And so keeping yourself motivated as a leader becomes a challenge. And so the sales culture can be inspiring when you have a leader who has evolved. Unfortunately, we have many leaders who themselves are very insecure and in many cases immature. And there's no other way to, I mean, I wish I could show you some scientific data to back this up. Maybe I do have some data, but largely it is based on the set of people I have come across over the last 20 odd years in various locations, geographies, that the truly open-minded, secure, calm leader, though those are very few in number, right? And so a lot of the sales culture is driven by the personality trait of that sales leader. And so it becomes a whole ecosystem. So the sales leader is, suppose, the extrovert, outgoing, some mostly, will be very direct and sharp in commentary. And so they also tend to hire people who are like that, and they then in turn hire the workforce very similar, who fit in, who understand, who speak the language. Is that wrong? I'm not saying that is wrong. I'm saying it is a state of being. And so if you happen to be a person who does not fit into that sales culture, you will always find yourself struggling to make sense of the commentary that goes around. It's very difficult to unlearn. I think one of the things that I hear from people is that which is why I'm quite surprised that people change jobs so frequently. It's so difficult to restart all over again and go into this new organization, understand the new culture and all that. Is it not smart to try and adjust yourself to the current work culture? Now, I know there are too many exceptions in the market, right? If you're in a toxic work culture where you're being mistreated, then clearly that's a different. So these are, please keep all those disclaimers in mind, right? That there are exceptions and applicable everywhere. So in Bus Talk, we have a very mature, very mature audience, which means when I make a statement like try and adjust to a company culture, the mature audience that we have understands that it's not saying accept anything and everything, right? Accept all nonsense that comes your way. That's not what I'm saying. If you've not been treated well, if you are in a difficult situation, of course, you should figure out A, talk to somebody, B, escalate and C, get the hell out of that place. So that's the part. But I'm saying sometimes in normal situations, in everyday life, you will never find a perfect work culture, right? Because you come from a different background, you've been brought up in a different way, you've grown up in the corporate world in a slightly different way. So A plus B plus C brings you in contact with another person who's gone through a similar A plus B plus C situation, which might not be identical to yours. And so it is important while you want to hold your own and hold your ground, and it's also important to be adaptable. It's also important to be flexible. Sales cultures get toxic from time to time. This intense pressure could be to do with lack of processes. It could be a people issue. It could be some insecurities. And many times it could well be a situation where the leader is forced to do something which they cannot share with you. They're just under instructions, right? This is what you do. You've been asked to do this. You just go out there and execute. And so the leaders are often misunderstood and misrepresented or misquoted, and it might come across to you as very toxic, but actually if you ever got to know the other side of the story, then you say, oh, okay, I get it now why this person made all those comments or made it so difficult and so on and so forth. So I'm not trying to defend all leaders out here, just so that you know. I'm just giving you an insight that this too can happen. So keep an open mind. It's not to say that there aren't any nasty leaders and those kind, but all types of people, right? As there are all types of employees. Please don't assume that all employees are uh, nice just like you. There are very difficult employees, there are very nasty employees, there are very obnoxious employees everywhere, as are the managers, as are the leaders. So it's humans, right? People react differently to different situations. So that maturity is required before you say, uh, I don't have an inspirational leader. Like, it's very difficult, right? We all are under guidance that these are the three things you need to deliver. And to find inspiration within those strict guidelines is a difficult thing. Very, very difficult thing. It's not like your own business, right? You can pretty much take it anywhere, any which way you want to do it and all that. It's like, and that's how processes work. Finding inspiration, which is somewhat abstract, in a definitive process is a difficult thing. Try doing that, right? Try when you become a leader. And if you're a leader, you might think about this. How do you inspire when you know that these 10 tasks have to be done? For example, if you're a salesperson, you have a quota and you have a forecast. Cannot Your forecast has to be greater than your quota, and you cannot miss your forecast, right? Because it tells the organization that you are not on top of your business if you miss your forecast, right? So how do you then inspire? You can only tell that, here are the 10 things you do. And I'm speaking as a leader, and suppose you are the team member. How do I instill inspiration? How do I inspire you? I can say, this is negotiable, this is non-negotiable. Now I can inspire to a certain degree, saying that, come on, you can do this, we got this, I'm going to support you, I'll be backing you if there is any help that you need. But maybe that inspiration is not what you expected. It's not landing with you. Sometimes do you really think about this, right? What is the inspiration that you're looking for? Somebody that will give you goosebumps and you will be all charged up and all that. Now, as fascinating as that might sound, the kind of business that all of you do is serious business, which is largely predictable and boring. And to find a sudden rush of adrenaline is very difficult. You're talking about solving a business problem for your customer, which means the customer is not happy. And so that's a serious thing. You are trying to give a business solution to a business problem for which there's a product or a service that you offer, for which there is a license or a subscription, for which you get revenue. I do not see adrenaline in all of this. It has to be meticulously followed step by step so that you don't leave any stone unturned, and make sure that the deal comes through. So yes, you have to take it seriously. And inspiration, meaning to find that one more deal, find that mojo. That it's probably to zoom out a little bit and say, how do I get inspired to turn up to work on Monday? Where do I find that energy? I think that is in your control rather than your leader's control. The leaders will have to give you a set of instructions, which they have been given a set of instructions to go out there and execute. And so, yes, they can be appreciative of the hard work that you're doing. And there's room for improvement there on all counts. I could say that people can be a little more appreciative. But truly speaking, inspiration is difficult. Is difficult in the quanta of work that is in front of all of us. So you just say, hey, this is a job that needs to get done. Let's make sure we are aligned and get the job done. And yeah, if you're feeling low someday, if you're having a bad day, then of course you should, or the leader should, come around and pat on the back and say, come on, chin up. Or if you lost a deal, then the leader should inspire in those instances, saying, we have to go out there and find one more deal somewhere. So those kind of things are absolutely fair. That's makes sense. So sales culture, is rewarding when it's when you get to your deals, when you close revenue, when you are accurate on your forecast. And clearly, when the reverse happens, you feel it is very toxic. Oh my god, the manager does not understand me. If only they knew how difficult it is. I have a bad patch, I have a bad set of accounts. i'm I've been asking for all this for a long time, but I just get the shittiest leads. And so, how am I going to make my quota? How am I going to make my numbers? And he's relentless, or she's just after my happiness. It's a personal attack. And, you build up, you snowball. And there are instances where that happens in reality too. But like I said, the snowballing part of it is very, very common. That you start off by missing a forecast, but it snowballs very quickly. Probably you have a manager who's not as patient, doesn't understand, then you think everybody's against you. And that's how pressure is built, and that's how you dread going to Monday forecast calls, or whenever you have a forecast call on Friday or whatever. It kind of signs that you're not enjoying your work. Like I said, we are all mature people here, right? So if you do think that it's getting a bit too much, and be very careful about the definition of bit too much. What is bit too much to you is not bit too much to somebody else. It's like ask those people who don't have a job. And they say, oh, you were just freaking out because your boss gave you a tough love conversation because you missed a forecast or you missed a quota, and you're threatening to quit. Is that smart? Look at me. Like I trade places any day. I don't have a job, and I haven't had a job for the last 6 months. And at interviews, people are asking uncomfortable questions, and suddenly you have a different perspective now. That okay, maybe it's not that bad. But yeah, there are instances where it gets very ugly when there are unparliamentary comments that the leader makes against you, and it's a personal attack, and it's very evident that it's a personal attack. Then yeah, it gets very murky. They put you on a plan, right? They put you on a performance improvement plan, and then ask you're unceremoniously exited out of the organization, because very rarely, and I have known people who have been in a plan and have turned it all around. It takes a humongous amount of mental resilience, emotional strength to turn around. But when it's like a difficult battle, when you feel that everybody's against you, they really want you out of the system. You get those vibes, and so you're thinking, should I fight the battle, or should I just, if nobody wants me here, why do I want to be here anyways? And then there are others who say, yeah, I deserve this place. I've been here in this role after 6 rounds of interviews, after 5 different people talking to me, and 3 months of pursuing this opportunity, and so on and so forth. And so how come I was the best candidate to be hired a year ago, and I'm the worst person now, and I need to be put on a plan? So those conversations are tricky. So my request to you is define toxicity carefully. Somebody holding you accountable for your work is not a bad thing. Probably their communication style is a little hard, and you should explain that to them at some point. And sometimes it is up to us. We get affected a bit too quickly. We become a bit too touchy. We become, oh my god, how could he say that, or how could she write that mail? And we get upset about it, and let the ego do the talking rather than the facts do the talking at all times. And that's why sometimes you might feel that workplace is no fun. It's like you have to go back to the facts, and facts are facts, right? They can't treat that as fun. And so it is important to document, it is important to note down, remember, and have a before and after, so that you can refer objectively to what the problem statement is, and not get caught up in the rhetoricals or the sound that comes along with missing your numbers. It's never a good place to be if you miss quota. And lastly, think of it the other way around. Tomorrow you are a leader. So you are an individual contributor now, but today, tomorrow, day after, 2 years later, 5 years later, you become the leader and you have five people and three of them are missing their quotas in the team. What happens to you? You as a manager could be put on a plan because you're not able to turn around the team, you're not delivering the numbers. Shit like that happens. And you could say, hey, what can I do? But what's your job to manage? And it's very difficult because there's so many other factors, moving parts attached to it. I mean, you wanted to hire people, but there was no budget. You wanted to replace these non-performers, but they're not easy to put them out of the system. And so think of those things as well. So when you're talking about uh, pressure, quotas, all of these are very interlinked to performance and in high performance environment. And given the market situations, non-performance becomes very difficult to explain, sustain, reason with anybody, anywhere. Like, uh, does it mean? And you can argue that will putting me on a plan really solve your problems? Well, we don't know, but is it worth a chance? Is the question, right? So read the business well, read the room well, read it in advance, and see whether you're headed in the right direction. Are you getting the signs? Are you getting the symptoms? You will pick up, right? It's never a blunt, oh my god, I wasn't expecting this. You if the vocabulary or the non-verbal signs will be there, and you got to be fine-tuned enough to pick up on those signs that okay, this is not kind of going in the right direction. I need to fix it before it's too late. And which is why you have to take your jobs very, very seriously, your deliverables very, very seriously. And your last comment on that particular topic was also about work life balance and burnout. These are all interlinked, isn't it? When we are doing well and we're getting a promotion, we are getting maybe if you're in a startup, getting a stock grant or whatever, it feels good. You feel the manager is nice, your colleagues are great, and the office cafeteria food is fabulous. Life couldn't be better. But when things are adverse, the same place is just very terrible. Like everything, the chair is not good, the monitor is flickering, the phone is bad, and I know I'm exaggerating, but I'm just saying that everything starts to look bad all around you, and that stresses you out. That is a fundamental cause for burnout. I know there are lots of unfortunate situations. Many of you are in financial debt. You have not planned your finances well, or have been in situations which are beyond your control. Net of the story, if you lose your income, then you're pretty much risking your family's well-being. That adds tremendous amount of pressure, massive pressure. And I wish organizations could be a little more sensitive. But what can you do? Because you can't do it for one person. You can be compassionate. How do you do it en masse for hundreds and hundreds and thousands of people? How do you run a business like that? So it depends on how you justify your return of investment. And that's how the hard reality is, right? You have to justify your cost to the company. And so the burnout happens when you realize that you might lose the job and you don't have a financial backing or a plan B. So is there a prescription to it? I don't know. All I could say is hard financial discipline is non-negotiable. Absolutely non-negotiable. And it's not that if you hadn't had an opportunity to save, to invest before, it's going to be like that forever. Right? You will, within the limited constraints that you have, you'll have to find financial resilience, because jobs will always be jobs, right? Beyond a point. Market conditions will sway, sometimes in favor and sometimes not so much. And so you should at least have savings worth 2 years. 2 years, yes, you heard that right. 2 years with 10% more spend per month that you're doing right now. So if you're spending 100 rupees or $100 a month on a monthly sustenance exercise, paying your EMI, paying rent, paying whatever other financial commitments you have, the cost of living is say $100 for you, then calculate the savings at 110, and then into 2 years. That is the money that you need to build to save to be at least give yourself a fair chance. And why am I inflating that number? Because there's always some emergency, some one-off expense that comes. They say right when it rains, it pours. And so somewhere you need to be as I mean, you can't plan for everything, but at least you give yourself the best chance. And so the burnout then is slightly lesser when you know that you have a financial backing to continue for another year, even if you lose this job, or 2 years. It makes you a little more resilient, a little more confident, and so you are less burnt out. And then, of course, work-life balance. It's a very tricky conversation, right? Do you need work-life balance? Answer is absolutely yes, you do. Is it easy to achieve that? Absolutely not. Struggle actually, and the better you do, the more work comes your way. The more work comes your way, then the balance tilts towards work, and the balance of the work-life balance part is almost non-existent. Is it good? No, because you might do a lot of damage to your health, and which eventually affects your performance. So all those is true, but you got to each their own. How do you balance this mid path? Do I recommend a 70-hour work week? Nope, I don't. Do you need to work on a Saturday or Sunday? Nope, I don't. But there's a disclaimer to that as well. I do what matters to you the most. And yes, also understand what is an exception and what is a trend. If there is a one-off instance where you're expected to, do a stretch project or do something, that's perhaps okay. If it is like order of the day or order of the month or order of the year, that every 2 months we have this extended work hours and all, then that's a different conversation. So keep the nuances. Remember, this is not a binary world that we live in. Yes, no, true, false, 1, 0. We coexist in multiple shades of gray. Something that can be right today could be wrong tomorrow. Something that is wrong tomorrow could be right today, or whatever. So don't have the absoluteness of it as a definition for your happiness or unhappiness. Last but not the least, okay, we are already 42 minutes into you talk. The question is around LinkedIn still helping markets sell products or just adding noise. Social selling still working, or there are other platforms and opportunities. Look, LinkedIn traditionally was designed, and I've been a LinkedIn member since 2004, if I'm not mistaken. Been a while. And so it is largely to meet other fellow professionals and network and understand how they operate, but somewhere that is lost or gone down the priority. Seeking another job on LinkedIn has become a higher priority, and then reaching out to another business, which is being used as a sales tool, has crept in on the ascendancy. There are many other tools in that space. You could talk about Zoom Info, you could talk about what data, many other data sites, Hoovers, and so many DNB and Sony, so many other sites, right, where you get the sales tools to connect to other enterprises. So how do you use LinkedIn matters. It's not a one-off. One day you do a campaign and reach the customer. That's not enough. Any campaign, if it is not done consistently, periodically over, say, a year or so, is less likely to yield tangible leads. You will get impressions, but leads which at least have budget authority and need, or that there is a genuine inquiry, they are very few in number. And if you do mass mailing, then it costs that much more money. So be a little more innovative at attract customers to you rather than you reaching out to the customers. So inbound, if you can leverage the platform to attract inbound, so you do webinars, you host fireside chat, as in you and your product specialists are talking to each other, and then you invite some of your customers. Why don't you listen here? So it's like a reverse sales pitch. Like, we are talking, do you want to give it a listen? And so sometimes developing the inbound motion is where LinkedIn might platform might be of help. In fact, I used to do a session called After Office Hours. So difficult to sustain all of this, isn't it? I mean, given the paucity of time. But that was a fabulous, right, show where I would just pick one or two leaders. They would just come on after office hours, as the name suggests. Have a general chit chat, fireside chat, and so many people would log in and ask questions and queries, and that's how you develop your own awareness within the ecosystem, and also know other people will start to know you as, and that is the fundamental nature of networking. From networking, you get either a lead or a entry or a connection, and then you get business out of it. So that's how I think LinkedIn is, or should work out to work for you. And it's not just you know, the most things that we see is somebody just saying, oh, can I get a job? And the guy has never worked with this leader, has no reference, no history, no nothing. And those things generally don't tend to work. So always engage, interact, build bridges when you don't need them. Otherwise, you just turn up when you need a job and then forget about it. Becomes like a dormant contact, and people go to town saying, I've got 10,000 followers, I have 20,000 followers. I was like, do you even remember 100? Do you know them by your first name? Do they know you by your first name? If the answer is no, then it's pointless having 10,000 contacts. I'd rather have 500 and know 490 of them intimately. Know what they work, how, where are they working, why did you choose to connect with them, what can you offer them or learn from them, and are you in constant touch with them? That's when you know you're truly leveraging the power of the platform. Otherwise, if you just look at it as a bank where you go as an ATM card and keep on withdrawing without putting anything else into the bank, then there's nothing, right? Well, that's a lot, right? I mean, you had like 2 or 3 points, but there was so much to unpack within those 3 points. I hope you got a sense and to the queries that you had for me, and I'm sure those others tuned in had similar queries. As always, keep sending these questions, keep sending these topics, whatever that you want me to cover, and try and see if I can address them to the best of my ability. I hope you enjoyed listening as much as I enjoyed sharing it with you. You can reach me on LinkedIn, that is in/Ayanban, that is AAYANBAN. You can reach me on platform X, that is hashtag Ionisms, AAYANISMS. Or if you want to be part of the WhatsApp group or Telegram group where I post these episodes and I have some polls and some Q&A separately, then drop me a note on chat on LinkedIn or something and say you're okay to be included. I'm happy to add you to the list. You can choose to subscribe, and if you are so kind and if you like the content that you heard just now, leave a review on the Apple Podcast page. It'll be there on the Bus Talk website. You can go to Apple, search for Bus Talk, and leave a review of what you thought. It'll help a lot. It'll help me understand whether the message is resonating with you, whether you're liking it or not, and so on and so forth, right? So on that note, it's a wrap. Till we meet the next time, stay well, stay safe, keep tuning into Bus Talk. This is your host, Ian, and I wish you a great week ahead.